UFC Fight Night 22 November 2025 happening in Qatar, and I'll be giving you the predictions regarding the main event and co-main event. Before I get into that, let me just recap on the previous video's results. So Islam Makhachev defeated Jack Della Maddalena, became the new welterweight champion, now a 2-division champion, defeated him in all rounds, pure domination. It was, as I said, he's just going to get the belt, and that's what. He walked in there like Jack Della Maddalena had no business being in there. And then Carlos Prates, as I said, he almost killed Leon Edwards, second round TKO. And Benoit Saint-Denis also defeated Beneil Dariush, first round by knockout, 16 seconds in. That was surprising. Another big surprise was, well, I knew Bo Nickel was going to win against Rodolfo Vieira, but not by a head kick. That was a nice head kick. Round 3 TKO. Only prediction I got wrong was Sean Brady against Michael Morales. Yeah, I didn't expect Michael Morales to knock him out with that punch in round 1, 3 minutes and 27 seconds in. That was a big upset, but you know, Sean Brady will bounce back. Anywho, on to UFC Fight Night Qatar 22 November predictions. So start with the co-main event, Bilal Muhammad against Ian Machado Gary. So Bilal Muhammad's coming off a loss against Jack Della Maddalena. That's where he lost his title, and that was on May the 11th. Now, Jack Della Maddalena really showcased his boxing skills, his nice combos. He was piecing him up quite well, and it really showed who was the better fighter. I mean, Jack really put his all into that fight, and he took home the belt, and then he subsequently lost against Islam just by pure domination. But Bilal did manage a win against Leon Edwards by unanimous decision, and also against Burns by unanimous decision. He defeated Brady, Luque, also Stephen the Wonderboy Thompson. But Bilal fights once a year since 2023. The last time he fought twice a year was 2022, so he's trying to make a comeback this year and fight twice in 2025, and he's going to go up against Ian Machado Gary. Now, the future Ian Machado Gary only has one loss. Otherwise, he would have been undefeated, 16-1, 7 wins by knockout, 1 win by submission. He has 4 rounds in the first round finishes. Now, he's coming off a victory against Carlos Prates. Now, Carlos Prates recently had a victory in the previous event against Leon Edwards. So Machado Gary's only loss was against Shavkat Rakhmonov, and that's to be expected because that guy's just an assassin. He's a killer, trained sniper rifle aimed at you. So no loss whatsoever in his validity as a fighter. Losing to Rakhmonov was expected. He has a nice win against Michael Venom Page, which is saying a lot because Michael Venom Page is a very, very strong fighter, and he's loose stance, fast feints, nice karate base. He recently had a win against Jarrett the Cannoneer, and before that he defeated Shahram Magomedov. Machado also has a win against Geoff Neal, so does Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates opened up his skull with a nice elbow. Shame for Geoff Neal, he's not really doing too good nowadays, but anyway. Ian Gary also has nice wins against Magny and Rodriguez. And he actually joined the UFC back in 2021. Almost the same as Bilal. But ever since then he's gone on to win, except in 2024 we lost against Shavkat Rakhmonov by unanimous decision. So coming in against Bilal, I do have to give the prediction victory to Bilal. And as much as my heart doesn't want to give him the victory, I have to, because if the fight goes to the ground, I see Bilal winning. I just see him winning. His ground defense and his takedown, it just leagues better than Ian's. Bilal trained with Dagestanis, he knows the ways. So if the fight gets taken down to the ground, and it depends how fast Ian will stand up, or if he can stand up at all, and how good his takedown defense is against Belal. Because Belal you can look at as a very weak, very, very weak version of Islam. I'm saying weak, very weak version of Islam. But if the fight stays on the feet and Belal can't take Ian down, then I see this fight ending in a TKO with the victory going to Ian. So it really matters how the fight progresses. But I would have to predict that the fight's going to go to the ground. Belal's going to take him down, keep him there, and maybe look for a submission or just win by control time. So either way, I'm going for Belal to win against Ian Machado Gary in the co-main event. Then on to the main event, we have Arman Tsarukyan against Dan Hooker. Now, Arman Tsarukyan his career really didn't take a good turn when he pulled out of the Islam Makhachev fight. It really didn't take a good turn because he was fighting for the title lightweight back when Islam previously was still the champion at lightweight, and then he subsequently moved up to welterweight and just got the title now. Now he's a 2-division champ. But Arman was the only real threat to Islam because he fought Islam in the past already, back in the day, back in the dark ages. And Islam, he put up the most challenge we've ever seen anyone put up against Islam was back then. So going into that fight, we were all thinking that Islam's really going to get tested now. His medal's going to get tested. But strangely enough, Arman Tsarukyan pulled out because of a back injury. We all know it wasn't a back. He just didn't make weight. Just too scared to face it. But ever since then, the UFC hasn't really dealt him a good card, because if you pull out of a main fight that they've been promoting at such a huge expense to the UFC themselves, then they're going to make your future quite bleak. So his last fight was against Charles Oliveira 2024, April 14th, and it would have been his last fight against Islam Makhachev, I think in March 2025, but he pulled out, and Roy McConnor stepped in to fight Islam, and Islam just demolished that guy round 1 by submission. But if we look at Arman, his record is quite good, 22 wins, 3 losses. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his nickname, I don't know it. He does have a wins, very established wins against Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, Silva, Ismailov, Gamrot. Wow. No, actually lost against Gamrot. Sorry, I saw the wrong little thing. Losing against Gamrot is how does that happen? Because Gamrot's not really that, I'm going to say, as prestigious as all the other fighters on Arman's little score sheet here, like Charles. So to win against Charles and lose against Gamrot is quite weird, but regardless of that, I think it just wasn't his day. But to pull off a win against Charles Oliveira, that's saying a lot, man. Even though it was split decision, to not get choked out by Charles is a very, very huge feat. So by that saying, I'm going to say that Arman, if he can take the fight to the ground, he has very good chances of winning. But if we look at Dan Hooker, the hangman, 24 victories, 12 losses, so his score sheet is not really as glamorous as Arman. 7 wins by submission, 11 by knockout. His previous fights, he also lost to Gamrot. He won against Gamrot. I saw the wrong number. Also has nice wins against Turner, Puelles. He lost against Brendan Allen, kind of weird there. And of course, he lost against Islam Makhachev, round 1 by submission. That was his darkest day. That was his darkest day on this earth, losing by submission round 1 against Islam. But ever since then, he's tried. He did get the BMF belt, good for him. And he has a nice win against Falder. But he did take a loss against Dustin the Diamond Poirier and also against Michael Chandler. So he's lost against the gatekeepers. The really important fights he's lost, which is not good. That's not what we want. It's not ideal. But he now has another shot of fighting the gatekeeper, Arman Tsarukyan. And if I see this fight going on the feet, I see Dan winning, just because he has that drive and that passion to really, he loves a good brawl. And it's like he's built for war, And I see him winning on the feet, same as the co-main going against Belal and whoever Belal's fighting. Ian Gary, yeah. If Arman can keep the fight on the ground, take him down, because Arman's wrestling is way better than Bilal's, even though he's fighting at a lower division. And if he can keep Dan Hooker on the ground, he wins easily. But if Dan Hooker can keep the fight on the feet, pressure Arman, don't let him take any chances with your neck, or get your back going to the ground, secure top mount. If you can avoid that, maybe stand up, push him against the cage, get some control, then I see him doing enough to get a unanimous decision, maybe split decision win. But that's only if he keeps the fight on the feet and maybe tires out Arman with the wrestling. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. I think Arman's going to take him down and submit him. I think that's going to happen round 3-4. I don't think it's going to be an early stoppage, but I think Arman's going to win this. So my prediction for the main event would be Arman Tsarukyan winning against Dan Hooker, and then for the co-main, Belal Muhammad's going to pull out the victory against Ian Machado Gary. Alright, that's my predictions for UFC 322, taking place 22 November in Qatar.